Real Country 1430 AM and 1073 FM WRDN. I'm Brian Winnekins. Joining us this morning, Durand-Arkansaw School Superintendent Greg Doverspike, as we talk about the school board meeting from earlier this week. And Superintendent Doverspike, thanks for joining us this morning. Well, first under the business, there was this settlement with Jewel. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we had the opportunity to join, along with other school districts around the country, a class action lawsuit against Juul for the targeting or just vaping manufacturers in general for targeting youth for the vaping products and the other ramifications as a result of that. And the class action lawsuit has settled with Juul. There's one lawsuit left with another vendor. I don't recall the name off the top of my head. But it was in the billions. And then we just had to agree to the settlement. As a district, we're going to receive a little over $17,000 spread out over 4 payments over a couple of years. And that money is got to be earmarked. They haven't given us the exact parameters of what it's earmarked for, but a lot of it will be on some prevention type activities. And we've also signed on in a class action lawsuit with the same group over social media companies, because social media companies have come out and through testimony or some other way have said that they target youth and understand that there's a mental health crisis as a result of that. So there's another lawsuit going on there to try to have school districts reclaim some money and help with student mental health that's caused by the impact social media has.
Talking with Durand-Arkansaw School Superintendent Greg Doverspike this morning. Meanwhile, the board discussed and took some action on the library agreement with the city. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's just that it was there was an opportunity to go through the joint agreement and clean up some language in there that maybe doesn't apply. And during our last agreement, there was some changes that were made that then didn't the corresponding numbering of it, the 13.1's reference should have been 12.1 because something else got taken out or whatever. So there was just some numbering type issues in the contract and a couple other things that got deleted that are no longer done just because of the agreement for the most part is about 25 years old. So every once in a while you have to go through it and clean up some stuff that was in effect 15 years ago, but as times change, sometimes those things aren't necessarily relevant anymore. So it gave us an opportunity to go into the contract and clean a few things up. And the library board, I believe, approved it last Monday. We approved it tonight. And now the city will need to approve it at an upcoming city council meeting in April.
Meanwhile, I know there were a lot of like curriculum and personnel type stuff in the manual. There seemed to be a whole bunch of stuff. Was that kind of the same thing, just kind of tweaking some of the policies in the curriculum?
Yeah, when it comes to the policies, we belong to a policy service like many school districts do because of the amount of policy that's there. And twice a year we get an update from the policy service, and we got our update, sometime after the first of the year. So, administration goes through it first, meets with the policy rep, district policy committee meets to approve it, and then it goes before the full board. And a lot of the policy changes, like you said, are either responses to some grammatical clerical things. It seems like we've been with this group for probably 6 or 7 years, and I think we've gone from board to school board to board of education to back to board. So every time they want to change what they refer to the board as, we have to make a technical correction. And then there's changes in policy as new legal state statutes get passed or lawsuits happen that further define a policy and require language to be added to a policy or changed in response to what's happening either at the state or the national level and at the court level. So that's what a lot of these policies are designed to do, is just update to make them current and present with what the new legal requirements and statutory requirements are relevant at this time.
And under those policies, there were a whole bunch of them, and I guess it's a sign of the times that you had to add epidemics and pandemics to the policies.
Yeah, and there's academic and pandemics, and to kind of go off of the sign of the times and the conversation we had earlier, when you get in, there was multiple ones that dealt with tobacco, use of tobacco and nicotine on school premises. That's found in a variety of different areas because it's in the student section, and it's in the staff section and the support staff section, and yada yada yada. And that was just simply adding line item about the use of vaping products. That when that policy was originally done, vaping wasn't really necessarily prevalent. Now, as vaping has become more prevalent, you have to add vaping as a into the policy as something that's not allowed on school grounds. So things evolve, like you said, epidemics, pandemics, things change and evolve, and there's been a lot of policy changes as a result of COVID, just from the experiences learned and the changes in education that have happened as a result, and clarifying some of the things that came out of COVID.
Talking with Durand-Arkansaw School Superintendent Greg Doverspike this morning. School board meeting was earlier this week. I know it wasn't on the agenda, but I'm sure parents and those are curious. Will we have any snow days that we have to make up, or because of the pandemic led to virtual learning, and so virtual learning kind of can replace snow days?
You're exactly right. Virtual learning can replace snow days. So as far as minutes go, we are fine. Hopefully, we aren't going to have any more snow days this year, but I remember calling a snow day in early May one time, so I'm not going to, assume it's over yet, but hopefully we're done with snow days, and no, we do not have to make up any days. So we're still scheduled to get out when we were originally scheduled to get out, and we're fine. The nice thing with doing some of the virtual learning days, as you said, is that those count as instructional minutes. And and I know different school districts have different philosophies on it. And I think one of the things that we've kind of taken the understanding of is, you're probably going to get as much accomplished on a virtual learning day on a snow day in January that you are on days as you start pushing into June and early in mid-June, when kids would rather be outside when their sun is out. And everybody, quite frankly, would probably rather not in the building. So that's kind of the approach we've taken as a district, is to use the virtual learning option. And as a result, we do not have any makeup days.
As we get more into spring now, and hopefully, yes, we don't have any more snow. Obviously, the spring sports season is going to be starting. Softball's scheduled to start. We still have a lot, baseball too. We still have a lot of snow out there. Has there any been talk with other members of the conference and even the WYA saying, starting the last week of March kind of probably isn't the best idea here for some of these outdoor spring sports, because baseball and softball, you don't want to ruin the fields.
And you can throw track into that mix for the most part as well. I mean, we've got all three of those starting. Golf will be starting here soon as well. So you got all four of your outdoor spring sports starting, and nobody can really go outside except for the parking lot because there's snow, as you said, everywhere now, starting to melt. But still, we're probably a week or two away from being able to get on either one of the fields, because there's quite a bit of snow left on both of them, and then and then it's got to dry out. So there's a process yet. I can tell you that there has been conversation. The conversation is starting to come up more. I am, along with a couple of other superintendents that are part of the WA advisory committee, looking at trying to encourage the WA to put together a group of people to look at season start dates. One of them is the weather, as you stated. Now, one of the things that people don't always understand is, I was down in Madison during last week for the state boys basketball tournament, and there's not a lot of snow down there, so they're probably outside already. So sometimes the southern half of the state forgets what life is like in the northern half of the state. And we might be outside in 2 weeks, but you get up around Bayfield, they might not be outside until June. You don't know up there. So I think that you have to look at what's in the best interest of the whole state. But I think when you look at the season start dates, Brian, I think it extends beyond the spring. One of the things that I looked at and what really kind of pushed me into really wanting to take a deep look at this is, last year our boys athletic teams had two very successful seasons back to back. And we were fortunate enough to have that experience where we made it to level 4 in football, and we made it to a sectional final in basketball. Well, if you look at those time frames, those kids that played 3 sports last year, 3 boys sports, that in the sports of football, boys basketball, and then if they played a spring sport, those kids didn't have a day off because, basketball started like the day after the level 4 playoff game. And spring sports actually start before the state boys basketball tournament is over. So those kids just went from basically the 1st of August, roughly speaking, until the 10th of June with no real true break in the schedule to allow them to, number one, physically get healthy, number two, mentally get healthy, and be a kid and, catch up on things that, quite frankly, as a guy that used to coach, sometimes it was nice when I was in the basketball season to take a day out, have my kids get a day off because I needed to run to the bank. I needed to run to the post office. I needed to get a haircut. When you're in the middle of a season and you're coaching, you're in the school from 7:30 on a night of practice till 6:30. Well, the bank's not open at 6:30. The post office isn't open. And I know there's Saturdays. I get that, but it's just nice to be able to, for me as an adult, it was nice. I can't imagine what it's like for the kids. So yeah, long answer to your short question, but yes, there are some people that are, have taken a deep dive into this and we are pushing the WA to take a deep dive into it as well. So we'll see. We just brought it up at our most recent meeting and we're not going to let it die. So we'll see kind of where it goes from here.
That is Durand-Arkansaw School Superintendent Greg Doverspike. You're listening to WRDN.